Yeah, it's not working. That's what I told you.
Oh, I must have missed that. Well, we started, right?
Yep.
We started? Alright, well, let me do the intro. Oi, oi, and welcome to the Dritz Dressin channel. I'm Skeeter, that is Derp Derp, and we are here to review. What are we reviewing again?
Warlock.
I made you say it, and I didn't have to say that stupid name. No, that was dumb. All right, just ignore me. Just I'm the annoying person right now. Anyway, so we reviewed this movie called Warlock. It was made in 1989, and I saw like a little short on YouTube, and I decided, hey, that looks kind of scary. It is like Halloween time, and the scene that I saw is actually at the beginning of the movie. But before we get to that scene, that's scary. It was actually a very well done and scary scene. We got to start at the beginning.
Well done, scary scene for a kind of tame movie.
Yeah, that was like the most scariest of all the scenes, um, which is probably why it was shown. Anyways,
But first of all, let me address my, our webcam's currently not working, so that's why we aren't on screen like we normally are.
yes, that is why.
But let's get to the review. It starts off in Boston, Massachusetts in 1691.
1691. That's like the 17th century.
Which, if
Whoa,
you
I'm
get,
learning.
which if you know American history, that is also kind of around the time of the Salem witch trials.
And the Puritans. The Puritans were Catholic, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Because if let's say I looked it up, Salem witch trials is 1691 to 1693.
Oh, okay. So around that time. This was in Massachusetts. Um, did they? It wasn't Salem. It was another town
Yep,
in
but
Mass.
it's still in the same area.
Right. Right. Um, so it starts with a bunch of priests walking through the town in 1691, and you see a bunch of farmers and
Goats.
goats and geese, and a man with wood who looks at the priests walking through the town with a weird face. Like, look at me! I did wood. I'm working. Anyways, that was stupid.
We
Um,
have Santa.
what?
There's a guy that I called Santa because he had a long white beard.
Was he one of the priests?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I missed that. Well, he wasn't giving out any gifts. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what. So we see a watchtower, a stone watchtower, which is really cool that they had that. Um, and they go up in there, and on the door to the place is like this weird. They call it a hex, I think it is. It's a hex door or something like that. It's just a circle with a star in it. And they go to the top of this tower, and there's this guy chained up, and he's like in the touch your toes position from the standing position. Uh, his feet and hands are linked together in some special kind of harness, and it's like really weird. It's like, okay, who is this guy? Why are they locking him up? Is this guy actually on trial? Blah blah blah. And the priests come in. They're like, oh, confess your crimes to God. So you can kill you. We can kill you, or you can not confess, and then we can kill you. Pretty much. So I was like, okay, this the guy they haven't tied up. He's just a down on his luck guy. He's a friendly guy who.
Here we are introduced to one of the main characters, played by Julian Sands.
Wow. Yeah, he's not in a lot of stuff, but He looks
He
really
does actually
scary.
quite a bit
He
of
has a
like
nice
80s stuff.
he has a nice like slick backed haircut, and he looks like Malfoy's dad from in Slytherin. You just get that vibe of like he's like a high class guy, but he's also evil at the same time, and he's highly charismatic, and it seems like he's able to get his way um, for stuff. But anyways, there's this other guy in this fur coat, and he's just like, oh, you're gonna be punished, blah blah blah, and then he leaves the room, and there's a storm that's a brewing, and he's like, oh no, there's a storm a brewing, and so he rushes back upstairs to see the guy, see the captive escape, and he rushes to try to stop him, and they both disappear, and 300 years pass, and now it's 1988, and we introduced to this chick, Cassandra with a K.
Played by a Laurie Senior.
Yeah, and she's in a lot of stuff too, which I don't really know. Oh God.
Footloose.
Yeah, very a small film, Footloose.
Law and Order. One episode.
Yeah, whatever.
She isn't in much.
Well, we just need to know that she's not very smart as her character, and she's really dumb. So she's with this like gay guy, and they get woke him up in the middle of the night, and the warlock he crashes through the window, and of course they're like, oh my god, a drunk crashed through our window, let's put him in our room, like idiots, because they don't even know who this person is. He could be like a mean drunk, you don't know. And
he just has, I don't know why I'm pointing, because
he has cuts all over his body
just on his limbs,
from the
like
glass.
near his elbow, just certain parts.
Yeah.
Like one per limb.
And this is kind of relevant later, his cuts. He a little while later, the guy with the pelts comes by, and we realize, oh, he's the hero. Cool.
But
first we're introduced to the anti-salt man, the salt-phobic, if you will.
And
he is offered by the gay guy a free meal and a ride into downtown.
But
wow.
We forget the funny part of when they're dragging him.
Oh, right.
And he was walking with them.
This guy's supposed to be unconscious, so they take him to a bed, and you can see his legs literally moving as they're
walking with him.
This so-called passed out man. Yeah.
Granted,
really
this is a late '80s movie.
Yeah, so it's nitpick or whatever. It's not I thought it was going to be like a scary movie, but it wasn't really scary at all. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself, especially with a scene like that. And then the gay guy offers the guy a meal, and this gay guy has like a scorpion ring, and the warlock is like, it looks like he's really interested in a scorpion ring on his pinky finger, and he's like, oh, I'll make you food, I'll bring you downtown.
And he's
whatever.
apparently a Leo.
No, a Scorpio.
Or Scorpio.
That's why he had the Scorpion.
For some reason, I thought Leo. I know Leo isn't the Scorpion.
Well, you thought wrong, sir.
No, it isn't. I knew it wasn't. But for some reason, I thought you said he was a Leo, not a Scorpion.
That's why he had the Scorpion one. He's like, I'm a Leo, but I got the only M with Scorpion. Okay, that was dumb.
Because I know Leo is a lion.
Yeah.
Thank you, fairy tale. Not really.
Anime ruins our lives. It's true. Anyways, this nice man, he's making him a meal. He's like, oh yeah, you see this ring? I can't get it off. It's kind of grown on me. And so the warlock's like, I don't care. Takes his hand, takes a knife, chops off his finger, and now he has 9 fingers. And instead of calling 911, there's literally a phone on the wall.
He just decides to scream, "Help!"
Yeah, literally, he knocks the phone over so now he can actually call someone, and you can hear the dial tone, and he's just like, "Help! Help!" Dude, your one finger was cut off. You have 9 others. Call 911. It's literally 3 buttons. Are you stupid? Yes, he is. So he dies. Actually, no. They start making out. The warlock starts kissing the gay dude, and you're like, oh, okay, well, this is gonna change. Um, he bites his tongue out and makes an omelet out of it. Wow, wow, wow. That's pretty great. Um, oh, the one person who was watching us left. I wonder why. Maybe we're talking about people's tongues being weird. Anyways, um. What happened next? Oh, right, the guy with the pelts comes, and so he's dead, and then the girl was at work or whatever, and she's talking to the cops, and the cops are like, hey, what were his lovers like? And she's just like, no, he's not gay, he's queer. And I'm sitting there going, what the fuck is the difference? What?
No, she said he is gay, not queer. Is that other way around?
Oh. Well, then still, what the fuck is the difference? Like, bruh. Anyway, so this cops are like, well, this gay dude's lovers, they basically scare her, saying, hey, do you know of someone who would bite his tongue off and make an omelet out of it? Because that's what happened. So she gets all scared. She's like, oh no, I gotta get my stuff. So she goes back to the house, and then the guy with the pelts comes, and he's just like, I need to find his blood. And then she calls, she calls 911, and how does he escape though? Anyway, she calls 911. And she's like, oh my god, there's a guy in my house, blah, blah, blah. And then the cops are like, yeah, we'll be right there. And he needs blood for this, like, compass thing.
Witch's compass.
What is it called?
Witch's compass.
A witch's compass. And they're speaking in Old English, so it's really hard to understand them the whole time. And I'm glad they addressed it, but later on they unaddress it. It's like they don't talk about it as much, and it's still like they'll be talking and saying stuff, and it's just like you understand like half of it. So we forgot to mention the one scene. Son of a bitch. After the tongue biting scene, the warlock goes to a metaphysical library. Is that what it was? Bookstore. Metaphysical bookstore.
Yeah, it was more like kind of
No, it was a store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like an
Selling,
80s version of a crystal shop. Like.
Yeah, crystals and energies. So she's like, a group just came in, and he comes. He like waits in the backhand. He's like, oh, do you do personal sessions? And she's like, no, I only do groups. I mean groups. Like it was obvious that she was attracted to this guy. So she's like, yeah, I'll do like a reading for you or whatever. And he wants to like talk to someone. And she's like, all right, cool. She sits down at this table, right? And she starts pretending to be the person, and the warlock knows. He's just like, yeah, I'm waiting. It was like Ezekiel, sort of Z.
Zemiel.
Zamiel. I was like, oh yes, the father, Zamiel. And she's like, oh, I'm Zamiel. Did you have any questions? He's like, I would like to wait. And he's like, oh wait, but I'm right here. You don't need to wait. I will wait for the real Zamiel. And then she gets like, this lady gets possessed by a demon or the devil, I guess of what it was.
Satan.
Satan.
And that's what it says on Wiki.
Oh, does it? She gets literally possessed by Satan, and her head goes to the ground, comes back up, and it's totally changed. They put the makeup on it was awesome, and then the teeth too was really good. And so
Just
now,
imagine like an 80s werewolf movie. Kind of like that.
yeah, and she's like, "Oh, you have to get the." This was like really hard to understand because there's a lot of loud noise in the background, and you can't really read the lips at all because it's just teeth and no lips. And it's like, "Oh, you need to collect the 3 pieces of the things, and if you do that, I'll let you be the lost son of the Satan or whatever." And so he finally agrees because he wants something for his trouble. And so then he's off to find the 3 pieces, and just so happens one of the 3 pieces is at the house where the gay man was attacked. And so Cassandra with the K, she this is where she comes back home. She's looking to move her stuff out because she was just renting. And the guy with the pelt comes, and he gets the dial, gets the blood and the dial. So she calls the cops, and then he's like, it has to work. The blood was thin, but it will work. As soon as he gets really close, it'll start working. And it just how happened. The guy who's looking for the 3 parts of this Bible thing to like end creation.
The Grand Grimoire, which is like the ultimate book for witches.
Yeah, and it's like a reversal of creation itself if used correctly. So, um,
So it's basically like
reversal of God's creating.
Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, that whole book that Wanda is looking for the whole time. It's basically that.
Oh, super dark Burke.
Yep.
So then she calls the cops. The cops come. She's like, "Huh, you're out of time." And he doesn't know what these cop cars are. They're like strange. He calls them like carriages with strange lights, and he doesn't know what's happening. So he walks outside, and he flings his whip at the cops, and immediately the cops are all just chase him. He doesn't know what's going on. He gets arrested.
By the way, that he is played by Richard E. Grant.
Yep. Anyway, so he gets arrested, and the girl, she's just like, "Hey, cops, please wait for me." And so she's grabbing her clothes and stuff from the house so she can move out. And by the time she's on her like 3rd trip out of there, all of a sudden the cop cars are gone. Like these are the world's shittiest cops. Like seriously, yeah, you have 2 cop cars. Leave one there so she can like leave, but she doesn't. And so now the warlock comes into the same house, and so she tries calling 911 again, but now for whatever reason 911 is busy, and they're like, "Oh, please wait, you're on hold for the cops." Okay, thanks cops. Anyways, so the guy comes, and she's so full of herself, she thinks that he's coming after her, but he's not. He's going after one part of this Bible book, whatever that book was called again.
The Grand Grimoire.
Grand Grimoire. Yes, exactly. And this he gets the Grand Grimoire, and she's like trying to like fight him off or whatever, and she like locked herself in the bathroom, and for whatever reason he's like attacking her now, I guess. Who knows why? But
Because he wants a bracelet.
what do we know why the bracelet was
They
significant?
never really explained it.
I mean, all they said was her. It was
Other than
valuable
there's a part
to her.
of the spell.
It was valuable to her. But anyways, he casts a spell on her with her personal item, the bracelet.
I think that's why he needed probably like something that's valuable to her to be able to cast a spell to keep it. That's probably why.
Maybe.
Because that's why she initially wants to hunt him down is the reverse the spell.
Makes sense. Oh, we had 3 people in here, but now it's just me. Where'd you go? You didn't like what we were saying? Well, screw myself. All right. Um, so the spell was he incited some incantation of like a decade will be a day, and that's all you really get from it because it's old English, crappy old English, and she wakes up the next day and she's aged 20 years actually. So she's like, oh my god, I'm 47. Oh my god. And so she goes to where the cops are at, and for, I guess, um, gets the guy. She goes
Yep.
back to where the cops, back to the police station to get the guy, and she also like manages to cut her hair because now she's just like, hey, what happened? I guess he's the only explanation.
She went from hair the length down to her butt.
Yeah, her nails grew by like 4 inches only, and her hair
To
went
just
all the way down to
shoulder
her
length
feet.
hair in the next scene.
Yeah, she aged a lot, and she's like, oh my god, I could have gone to so many parties. Yeah, this chick is so full of herself. She thinks she's the main character. No, you're not. The guy with the pelts is the main character. So screw you, lady.
There's
Anyways.
one aspect we haven't mentioned that will come into play later. She's diabetic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she does. They just show her like injecting herself.
It comes into play later.
She's like, oh my god, I'm diabetic. Ah, look at me. Oh, woe is me. Anyway, shut up, lady. You suck. And what happens next? Oh, we get the scene with the warlock talking to the kid. And he's like, I'm a witch, and the kid's like, you're not a witch, you're not a girl. He's like, whoa, witches can be boys. He's like, huh, but okay, well, if you're a witch, where's your broom? Can't you fly? And he looks at him like really creepily, like he's just like, oh yeah, if I have the right pieces, I can fly. And in the next scene, I think they're the what's their name? Christina with a K. Cassandra with a K, and Peltman. They are following the compass thing, and they're like driving to different places, and I think it's
Redfern is the other guy's name.
Redfern.
Yep.
Kenny Travis. Wait.
This is the second one.
Oh, that's okay. The second one.
I was just wondering who's all in the other ones.
Anyways.
Nobody of note, but there's more actors.
Oh, hello, one person watching us. What's up? Let's see. So, oh yeah, he's talking to the kid, and the kid's like, well, where's your broom? Oh, I got plans for you. Oh, and you know something ominous is going to happen. And the Pelt Man and Cassandra with the K, they're following the compass thing where it's pointing with his blood, and they hear that there was a kid who died by coyotes. Yeah, he was skinned alive, and these coyotes ate him. So people are hunting these coyotes, and they get one of them. And the Pelt Man talks to the mom of this kid, and what I forgot to say was that the kid wasn't at church, and other people were at church or whatever, and that's why the warlock was able to talk to him and know that he wasn't one with God, I guess. Anyways, the Pelt Man talks to the mom, and he's like, hey, was your son baptized? I feel grief, like in his 1600 or 17th century way of like, I feel grief for you. We learned that the kid was not baptized. The father didn't want that. And he's like, oh crap, he made a flying potion out of the kid's fat. So he killed the kid off screen, hey, just like Art did. And he used the kid's fat to fly. And in the next scene, guess what happens? Well, we see a lazy cop with a speedometer clocking literally nothing at going like 97 miles per hour. He turns on the lights, and oh, it's just a man flying down the road.
Apparently, the warlock can fly at 90 miles per hour.
Yes, you think he'd be able to fly faster, but no. Then
and it's not Superman flying, it's Goku flying.
yeah, it's Goku
Arms
flying.
behind him.
It's like it's like a flying version of Naruto running, right?
That's why I
He's
said
like
Goku, because that's how Goku
da, da, da,
flies.
da, da,
Goku flies with his arms behind him. That's why I said Goku.
I'm just checking. Just got me watching. And do you have your phone?
It's over there.
Oh, if you have your phone, you can turn on YouTube and make it look like two people are watching.
No, because it's under my account.
Oh, so it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
Same
Anyways,
thing like if I did it on my computer or my PS5, it'd be the same thing.
Oh, okay. Anyways, what were we talking about? Oh, right. The now we got the barn scene. There's like a random farm in Colorado, which is where they're at, and this old man who we learn is a Mennonite. They're on the farm and they're plant. Something is wrong with some of the plants, and there was like bread that didn't rise or something like that.
Yep.
It has to do with like
Omens.
yeah, bad omens. And so what happens is this Mennonite old man guy who's the father of the farmer that's working there. He puts a hex symbol. He puts a circle with a star on it, and just so happens Peltman is driving by. Or what is his name? Red something.
Redfern.
Redfern. Yeah, that's what I knew his name. Redfern. Redfern and the girl Christina with a K. Um, they're driving
Cassandra.
by. Cassandra with the K. They're driving by, and the Neil points to this barn, and so he doesn't even knock. He just opens the door. He's like, who put the oven on the barn? Who put the oven on the barn? And the farmer and the wife are like, who the hell are you? And the old man comes in. He's just like, are you a Amish Mennonite? And they both shake hands like they've known each other for years. And he's like, yeah. He's like, yeah. Let me show you the place the thing that I saw. And it was just like not on the barn, but like another building or something.
Mm-hmm.
That it was kind of like open, and so this guy was just like, yeah, there's bad things happening with the crops and with the bread not rising, multiple things, and you're just like, all right, cool, I know what to do. Don't worry, guys, I got this. So this Mennonite helps Peltman and Cassandra with the K. I know I butchered that name again.
No, you got.
I actually got it right. Oh, that's score one for me. They get it right, and
Now, for those that watch to this point, which is probably nobody.
Probably nobody. Yep.
I want you
Still nobody.
take count of everybody every time he's actually said the name right.
Which is very rare. I got a like 80% chance of getting it wrong. So that's pretty good, right?
This is coming from a guy that meeting somebody right after her introduction. You said, what was it? What did he? Jill.
Oh yeah.
Because it was hi, I'm Mel. I'm like, Jill, right?
Jill. Yes. Oh, the legendary Jill. I know everything.
The one D&D session, because everybody else was kind of dicks, or two of them were.
No, whatever.
The
Just
the
forget about
husband the husband and wife.
The guy with the D100.
Yep.
All right, cool. Let's see. What were we? Oh yeah, the barn scene. So this scene instead of going at play by play, we're just gonna talk about it nonchalantly because it's actually really cool how they did it. Even though it was cheesy, it was really cool. So they all have this like master plan of this pelt guy. He he has Cassandra with the K, who is now 47, put pennies in her mouth. Pennies, and why do you put pennies in your mouth? I have no idea. He just that's just a thing. Okay.
It had also something to do with protecting her from the warlock's powers.
Okay.
Because he also, at the same time, mentions do not look him in the eyes.
He does. I was just about to get that. You read my mind. Do not look him in the eyes. Cool. And if you do look him in the eyes, don't do it with any kind of fear because he feeds off of that. So his grand master plan is to say, hey, you guys stay down here. Let's get the ladder to the attic because I think he's up there. But first, he nails down
The
outdoor part
of the attic,
of the attic.
because it was open.
Yeah. And so he goes up there. He's just like, if whatever happens, you got to do what I say, guys. And whatever. So he goes up into the attic and he finds a golden goblet. It's probably brass goblet, and behind one of the wood panels is a page from the book. And he immediately learns they're talking about random things, and like they discover it's like they roll a 20, or not a 20, but like a high roll to discover that, oh, maybe that guy is there. Like he kills a random bat.
Rolls a nat 20 on throwing a knife at a bat.
Yeah, he closes a window up top, and he's like, oh my god, he could have flown in through the window. And then the lady's just like, well, why would he leave one page? That doesn't make any sense. And as the audience, it doesn't make any sense to us either. You just got to go with it because that's the only logic that makes sense. Peltman realizes that the warlock is in there, and so they have a little fight. They're like, oh, you gonna kill me? You're gonna be an executioner? He's like, yeah. So he stabs the warlock in the chest and goes up, and here it's revealed that there's no blood. It's just pages of the book. He's like, I got 2/3 of this book thing. I got powers, and he doesn't say anything. He just casts random orange goo. It's lazy lava pretty much. It doesn't do much of anything. We don't know what it does. He just like throws it at people, and it, for whatever reason, it attacks them. Um, but he closes off a window. He's like, "Do you think you could hold me in here?" Blah blah blah. So he's able to escape, and he fall. He cuts off the bottom, and I think he. How does he get out? Was he crawl through the window or something like that? Because he locked everything up.
Yeah, the window. He makes it through the window.
Okay. He crawls through the window, and then he falls like 2 stories, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's gonna die. Nope, he's not dead because he's got main character syndrome, and the devil starts like flying around, or not the devil, the warlock starts flying around.
Close
he's
enough.
Like, ha, 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 ha. And at the same time as he's flying, he finds a windpipe. No, not a windpipe. Weather vane. The weather vane. No, the warlock throws the weather vane at him using his powers, and he's like, "Oh, look, a weather vane, cool." So he takes it like a javelin. He throws it at the warlock. The warlock gets hit, and now guess what? He has a giant compass thing that can find this guy, and more instantly. So that's fun. But he get Warlock falls to the ground. He's like, oh my god, and they're trying to apprehend him with these screws with the same apparatus from the beginning of the movie, and they get like some of it on, and then the stupid Mennonite guy looks into his eyes after he says, don't look into his eyes. So he does exactly that because he's dumb. And his eyes start bleeding. And instead of apprehending the suspect, he's just like, "Oh no, I'll let the 47-year-old woman who doesn't know anything about this handle it." And of course, she fails, and he's trying to save the Mennonite guy. Meanwhile, the warlock gets up and he runs away. Okay, well that's a problem. And he's like, "Hey, Cassandra with the K, go after him." And the solution is find his tracks and put magic nails into those tracks to stop him. And she mentions like a shotgun, right? And she's like, "Why don't I just use a shotgun?" He doesn't know what a shotgun is. Are you stupid? Oh yes, you are stupid. You are dumb. You are really dumb. Yeah, that was a meme.
Closest thing that you know to a shotgun is a bow and arrow.
Yeah, well, they had like muskets back then, or aquabus, because one of the priests had one. They had an aquabus, but that's it. That they.
But for more accuracy, it'd be a bow and arrow.
Yeah, he doesn't know what that is. Anyways, so she goes after him, and she's like, "Well, why didn't you go after him?" He's like, "Well, I need to save this person, and I'd rather save this person. I would rather let him go and save this person than have him die." So he puts bandages on the Mennonite guy, and he has him spin this little thing, and it'll be gone in a day. It's really weird magic. Anyways, she's going after the warlock, and she finds some of his tracks, and two like random dudes that are just working there. They're like, "Do you need any help?" And she's like, no, thanks. I don't need any help. Oh my god." It wasn't like that, but you know what I mean. She's like, "No, I can do it on my own." So she finds some tracks, and she finds like a foot track, and he's hiding in a boxcar, and he has bare feet on. I don't know if he can have shoes, but he has bare feet. She hammers a nail into the track, and it starts hurting his foot. She finds another track, puts another nail into that one, and now both of his feet are on fire, pretty much.
They're basically voodoo footprints.
and then she finds a
Well,
face.
first she tries it a third time. Needs putting his feet against
A piece of wood
to prevent the pain.
Yeah, and the last one is where he was like resting his head, and she puts it into that one, and now his head is all like hurting, and now she's able to see him. She can see him finally. Oh, and by the way, she's like 60 years old at this point, because there was another thing in a car.
Another day went by.
Yeah, another day went by, and they're in the car. It's like, "Oh my god, I'm 60 now. Oh my god, I'm so old." Yeah, whatever.
So she can see him because his arm is sticking out of the train car.
Yeah, that's the only reason. And then the best scene ever. Her and her 67-year-old body are she's slowly going after this train, awkwardly with a magic hammer in one hand. How is it magic? I don't know. That's not explained. But what's more important is she's chugging
running
along.
in place.
She's running. Yeah, she's running in place, following this train that's just started moving.
The background's not changing or anything.
No. It's like they had to do this take like 20 times just to get it right, just to have enough room. And they're just chasing, and somehow it's very crappily done about how she gets the bracelet back. She attacks the guy's arm with the hammer.
He wakes up,
and yeah, he's like staring daggers at her, and all of a sudden, she falls. She's like, "Oh no, I can't do anything." And she sees the bracelet on the ground, like, "Oh my god, I got the bracelet." And the deal with the pelt man was like, "I will help you until I get my bracelet back to get the hex off me." And she gets the hex off her, and he's like, "Yeah, you're in too deep now. You need to help me." She's like, "No, I don't want to." And he's like, "Yeah, you need to, because of the end of the world." She's like, "Okay." Then she's like, "All right, well, we gotta go to the place where they buried it, the place in Boston." And so they go by airplane, of course, and Okay, this is where makes no sense security wise he has a whip and a knife, okay, and Cassandra with the K is like, oh, let me take those weapons and I'll carry them. Even did they say there was a X-ray or something like that? There was an X-ray or something. And okay, so they get past that security. They're talking to this lady to pay it, and she swipes the card. It starts going through, and then Cassandra with the K unplugs it because there was some other customer asking for something else.
Or
And
one of the other workers.
So it didn't work. She's like, oh, I guess it went through, even though it didn't go through. I don't know. But as they're approaching, the gate, he sees the Pelt Man sees flying airplanes for the first time, and he just gets all freaked out. He's like, "Oh my God, only witches can fly," and you're saying men fly? And she's like, "Yeah, it's normal now. Who cares?" And she actually sees the warlock behind them. She doesn't say anything to him because she knows he's gonna freak out. So she's like, "All right, come on, let's go on the plane. Let's do this." They get in the plane. He starts freaking out even more. Um, how she convinced him, I have no idea because she's not very smart. Um, but so they get on the plane and he sees like a blue flame and he sees a guy eating like fish or something like that, and he's like, "Oh my God, I've seen there's omens. Oh my God, there's signs everywhere. We gotta look for the plane.
Yeah,
Look for the guy."
also eating like salt, or like he ingested salt.
Yeah, it was some white. It could have been tartar sauce or something like that. I don't know what it was. Um, but a guy was like lighting a cigarette with his blue flame, and he's like, "Oh my God, a blue flame, and this guy eating white stuff. Oh my God, it's really bad." Oh, so he searches all over the plane. Oh, and by the way, as they're boarding the plane, she noticed that he took the wind the wind vane with him. Like, what? That's literally that literally A has blood on it. B, no security stopped him. Like, are you serious? That is literally a spearing weapon, and nobody stopped him. Nobody saw this. Are you serious? This security is so bad. Okay, that was my rant on that. So they get on the plane. He's freaking out. They go back to their seats, and we find that the warlock is actually in the lower part of the plane in the storage where all the luggage is. And okay, he's following them. Okay, cool. So they get off the plane. They argue with a Celtics fan uh, in the taxi, and they go to this church that they're looking for. And Pelt Man knows all these streets, but he's just like, everything's different. This is weird. Um, so they go find this church, and we learn that this priest, who is definitely Catholic because he has the collar on, and that's Catholicism. He got a girl. We find out like 2 seconds later. They go through this book. Oh, I'll help you. I'll tell you where the part of the book is, and it's in some cemetery or whatever. And then he's looking at some woman who looks like a nun. By the way, I assume that she was a nun, and apparently, um, she and the priest are living together. And the warlock walks in and is like, "Hey, everything's shaking. The walls are shaking." They come in, and he's like, "Oh, you need to tell me what you told them, or else I will harm your two unborn children." And we learn that this priest is the father to these twins. So, what's going on with that? Like, that's a story in itself. Why a priest swear celibacy for the rest of their lives? B, this woman looks like a nun. And C, why is a nun and a priest having sexual intercourse? What is going on? Well, that's more of a scandal than what's going on with the warlock than anything. You know what I mean? Some people. Anyways, apparently they get the information out of them because they all arrive at this graveyard, and the graveyard And whose grave was it that they were looking for?
Red ferns.
Oh, it was Piltman, the red fern guy. Wow. Oh my god. And we found out his first name is Gillis, right?
Giles.
Giles. What kind of name is that?
It's a British name.
That's weird. Okay, Mr. Giles. Um,
Just ask Caitlin, because she will
or it
tell
could be
you.
Giles. Masculine given name is Giles or Giles.
Medieval English form of the name of the French hermit Saint Giles, which itself is the old French form of the Latin name Aegidius.
Alright, so.
You asked, so I received.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Giles or Giles. Alright. So they're in the cemetery. Then they have this like epic battle where the warlock comes. He's like, "Hey, look at me, I'm here." And right after they find the book, he appears, and Cassandra with the K gets tossed into the ocean like a stupid little flea, like she is. And this other guy is just like, "Hey, what are you doing? Blah blah. I'm gonna fight you." So they start fighting, and he's like flying, and things are happening, and it gets to the point where he's torturing Cassandra with the K. Like
Yep.
he has her by the foot and putting in like crystals into the bottom of her feet or shards of glass or something like that.
He throws her in the water after all that.
Oh, that's after that?
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. So we're out of order a little bit. It's okay. And he's like, hey, you gotta do a deal with me. You can give me that part of the book, and I'll let her go. And he's just like, well, I can't do that. That means you're gonna kill everything. My boyfriend broke with me. I was too good for him. Bullshit. Okay. That was a random meme, and you're distracting me, dude. I can't.
It's
I can't
not
help
intentional. I just ended up seeing something that
We are watching the memes.
got my attention.
All right, let's get back. Let's get back to the good shit. We actually got people listening to us. So let's give them a good show, right? Right, fellas or ladies? It's probably fellas. Let's be honest.
Since you're watching, please let us know if you've ever seen this movie.
Yeah, this is a weird ass movie, and it's just bad. Anyways, so they're having this epic battle, and he's just like, "Oh, if you do this thing, I won't torture her anymore." And he's like, "Fine, I'll give you the book." And so he throws her into the sea, and it's a really crappy throw. It's so bad. Oh my god, it's just not. It could be a meme in itself. Like this guy with like this warlock with unlimited power can only throw this woman like 30 feet. Like, are you serious? You should be able to throw her to the other end of the sea. Whatever. I can't look at these memes. You're distracting me. So he's like, what does he say? He's like, you can come get the book if you can. And the warlock is like, but I have magic powers. I could kill you in like 2 seconds. He's like, what kind of deal is this? He's like, fine, I'll put away my whip, and I'll put away my knife, and I think those are the only stuff he has, right?
Yeah.
I think he has. Does he have one more? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyways, he puts down all his weapons,
And
he punches him. The guy punches the warlock in the face. He's like, yeah.
He also sets aside the locks.
Oh, right, the locks. That's what it was. Super Gamer reply. Looks like you need to reset the camera. Oh, it's a special guest in the chat. Well, welcome.
How do I reset the camera?
After that, should be good. He doesn't know how to reset the camera, so we gotta fix that. Anyways, while he's fixing that, we are gonna end this thing because we are literally almost done. So, the end of the movie, they're barefisting, they're bear brawling, And the coolest thing about this actually is he's able to like punch the warlock like over a fence, over a you know stone fence, and he's like punching him like really good, and the warlock puts his hand in Peltman's mouth, and he throws magic into him, and now he's puking that lazy lava magic everywhere, and he can't do anything. And so, while in the water, Cassandra with a K gets a couple of her syringes from the insulin and dives into the water, and we don't see her anymore. Okay, and he comes back up and he's stating this incantation. He's like, I'm here to be the new son of Satan, blah blah blah. And what we learned like throughout the movie is like he has to say the God's real name backwards, and so it's obviously Atem, if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan. Um, but as he's saying this, Cassandra with a K randomly comes up while Pale Man is still puking, by the way. He's doing nothing. He's useless at this point. He is just puking. And Cassandra comes up with a couple syringes. She's like, try salt water, bitch. Injects him with salt water. And we know that he hates salt. Any kind of salt on him, he cannot handle. So now salt water is literally running through his veins. And we watch his face kind of it gets all bloaty, I guess. It starts to bloat, and he explodes into flames. And he's a flames now, and he's sitting on the. Excuse me. Oh man. He's in flames, and he's actually still alive because we see his skull, the eyes start moving, and so Peltman crushes him, and he's like, haha, I have fulfilled everything. And then we get the most narcissistic shit ever. What the fuck is that? We get the most narcissistic shit ever from this woman, and they win the battle, and he's like, come up to her, he's like, oh, do I remind you of that woman you were talking about, which I believe we forgot to mention. He has a lover, which is why he's going after the uh, warlock. But anyway, I digress. So she's waiting for a kiss.
What the fuck? Oops.
And it's like this guy goes in for a quote unquote kiss after saying whatever. He's like, oh, we saved the day, blah blah blah. And she has her eyes closed, waiting for a kiss, and he kisses her eyelids. She opens her eyes, and he says something else. And then she closes her eyes again and waiting for another kiss. And then he just disappears. He turns into a tornado and goes to where his grave is. She just like standing there, and while watching this, I was yelling at the TV. I'm like, dude, lady, he's not into you at all. Stop it. This is not about you. She's the most narcissistic woman ever. And then we did get a nag from her. She's like, why can't you hit him from here? Anyways, so that's the movie. It ends.
Ends with her taking the Grimoire and burying it in the salt plains of Utah.
Oh yeah, they go to the Salt Plains of Utah and buries that book down in there. You gotta cover it with salt. So there's that.
Because no witches will find it because they don't like salt.
There are things in this movie that were cool, like the possession of the lady in the beginning. And from that he had to like cut out her eyes so it would tell him where to go next or whatever. And then the barn scene, which was really good. It was really dumb, but it was good. Like he had the javelin using the weather vane. Like, oh look, I found this random weather vane, and you're like looking at him, and and you're like, Pelt Man, there's no way you can use that. That's not like a regular javelin that has extra like weight on it, and you wouldn't be able to hit anything. Well, of course he hits his target 2 out of 2 times, because that's how it is. Uh, but other than that, this movie was very lacking in story wise and pacing wise, especially with like the audio. There was like the old English makes it hard to understand what they're saying, and also there's another scene when there's like a storm happening, a loud noise happening, and they're literally talking, but you can't understand what they're saying. Even with the possession of the woman at the beginning, she like turned into like a demon, and it's hard to hear what she was saying in that demon form or whatever. So that really blew. So I mean, it wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't a good movie either. It was just an average movie. And trust me, it's a movie you watch to make fun of it, not to be scared. There's nothing scary about this movie. It's just more entertaining to watch, like the bad acting and the the different like makeup that they had. They had, the makeup when the woman was possessed. They had the bat. What else did they have? They had at the end him combining all the pages, and the pages like flipping like cards through the air. That was pretty cool. Did you have anything to add?
No.
No. Oh wait, that's not the camera. That's not the mic. So yeah, I would rate this like a 3 out of 5. It's just it's just an average movie.
I
That's it.
I agree. Yeah, it's very 80s.
Yeah, it's definitely 80s. Not a lot of people walking around, and there's a lot of people just like staring at them. Like it felt like some people weren't even paid. They were just like walking through the city, like, oh yeah, we're just walking through the city. Yeah, no big deal. Here's an airport. Yeah, it's just a guy with a weather vane. No big deal. It's a family heirloom. Um, so yeah, 3 out of 5. Totally
Uh,
average. And I remember the Smosh movie that came out. That was horrible, and they're aware of it because they talked about it. But I gave that a even lower. I gave that like a 2 out of 5. And that
and
came out like years ago, like 10 years ago or whatever.
as our review, I will say I did watch one other movie on Friday. I watched Smile 2. I'd probably give that about the same. Smile 2 wasn't as good as the first one, and I felt myself a little bored at points.
Oh, they needed to spice it up. If only they had art.
Yeah,
Speaking of
but
art, if you liked, we just did a review about
the first three
Terrifier.
Terrifiers.
We did all the Terrifier movies. We recently did the third one. We went to the theater. We were warned that some kid got traumatized who snuck in, and we were warned that it's gonna be bad, but it wasn't as bad as we thought. Um, just had to do with the child dying, pretty much. Spoiler alert! It wasn't a spoiler alert, even though it is.
You don't actually see it. You hear it, but you don't see it actually happening. And you see
Oh
the
no, they
aftermath.
left. It's just Mike and me.
You see the aftermath, but you don't see the actual kill.
Yeah,
Same
but
thing with the kid explosion, the exploding bomb later in the movie as well.
yeah. All right, I think we should wrap this up. Both 3 out of 5. Totally average movie. Thought movie would be a lot scarier than it was. It wasn't. But I do for my next one that I want to do. I saw a scene on YouTube and it looked hilarious. Um, I forget what it's called. Let me look it up really quick. Hold on, I'm on my phone. Hold on. Do 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 do. Interim music. Do 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 boop 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 boop.
Mine,
Ba ba da ba da ba ba boop.
the
Ba ba da
next
ba da
movie we'll do
bee.
for my
Ba da ba da
choice,
ba da ba ba boop.
I'm debating on a few. Uh, Brothers, which just came out on Prime Video last week with Peter Dinklage, Josh Brolin, and Brendan Fraser. Or Crazy House, which has Nick Frost in it from Shaun of the Dead fame. Zatoichi the Blind Swordsman, which is directed and starring Beat Takeshi Kitano. Please let us know which one you'd prefer us to do next week out of those three. Mike, I already know your choice is probably Zatoichi. Like,
Oh yeah, right. The movie I'm thinking of is called Slither.
I haven't seen that.
You have? Well, I haven't, and it looks hilarious. So we're gonna do that
Nathan
one.
Fillion's in it.
Yeah.
Same thing with
There's another.
Michael Rucker. I think he's in that
Michael
one.
Rucker. Who's Michael Rucker?
Merle.
Oh right, that's why I wanted to see it. They were both in it.
Or
right,
how?
cool. Okay.
I have a better choice. Next week we'll do Love and Monsters.
Okay.
It's with Michael Rucker and Dylan O'Brien.
You mean Mary Poppins? He's Mary Poppins, y'all.
Uh,
All right, let's end this. Let's end this stream.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to unlike and unsubscribe.
And join us.
If we have to do One Piece, all of it, let's get under to 10,000, so then we can do something else.
Join us Tuesday if I decide to stream our regular weekly D&D session. Join us Wednesday for One Piece and Pokemon D&D. And join us Thursday. We're probably going to watch and review the first 4 episodes of Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Like a dragon.
I'm a huge fan of the Yakuza series. He's probably never really heard of it, other than what me and Mulcat have told him about.
Yep. 2 watching, 2 likes. Wow, I wonder who liked it. Ooh, 3 likes.
Did you like it?
Well, we got 3 likes, so someone else liked it besides me and Mike. I like as soon as I said that. Oh, 2 likes. Oh, another like.
And Mike, if you're still on there, hope you get good news on Tuesday, and I hope you feel better.
Yeah, you better feel
I'll
better.
see you tomorrow night. Mike might come as well. You'll see.
It's a big might because I got D&D, so.
But I'll be done. I'll be coming back here around the same time you'll be done. So.
Yeah, well, that's if we're done at 9, because sometimes we go over. Sometimes, remember that one time I was playing and you're like, oh, I'll come over after I'm done, and we didn't stop until like 10 o'clock. It just happened to be on a day that I had plans afterwards, but we were just in a big fight, and the fight, I think that one went on so long he had to stop the fight in the middle of it. I mean, he did that. We did that last week too. We're actually in the middle of a fight right now, and he's like, "Oh, it's 9:30. Let's stop here. I'm tired." Because everybody, they all have day jobs, so.
Oh, I can even hang out here a little bit too.
Yeah, I'll let you know if I want to go or not. So.
And also, I forgot.
I don't know.
Tuesday we'll have our day 2 of our podcast, hopefully.
Oh yeah, I got some things to talk about.
Hear
Definitely
that,
fantasy
Mike?
wise. Well, at least one thing.
We should, even if you have to just do it by phone in bed. We can do all the research needed.
All right, let. Are we still going?
Yep.
Let's stop it. We're not even talking about like the review anymore.